Hello, welcome back to Plantyland. Thank you so much for joining today. Today I want to repot two plants. They both need new soil and they're both in too big of pots, so I'm gonna downsize and change the soil. The first plant that I'm gonna be working with is this imperial red philodendron. Just look at that soil. It's awful. It's actually disgusting. I really don't know what that is. I think it's mycelium, some type of mycelium, but I don't know if it's benefiting the plant. I think because the pot is too big, it's not allowing the roots to absorb or to dry out fast enough. So the soil is just kind of staying moist. As you can see, it's kind of like wet around the bottom, and I did find some root rot, so I went ahead and cleaned that up, and I'll go ahead and show you that in a second. Here is when I start to discover the root rot. I'm trying to clean off as much soil as I can from the roots so I can see what I'm working with. But yeah, this is the root rot. You can see that it kind of just tears off really easily and it's really squishy, so that's how I was able to tell that it was starting to rot. Luckily, it didn't really rot all of the roots. The roots are still really healthy and I'm still working with a lot of healthy roots, and I just needed to downsize, I believe, and it should start to thrive. Trying to find as much rot as I can before I give this plant a nice rinse off. I do want to clean the roots off as best as I can before I transfer it to new soil. So this is what those roots look like after they're all rinsed off. They're kind of red, like kind of a dark red. I love this plant. The leaves first come out really bright red, and then they fade into a really like dark green. It's a really cool plant, and the roots are beautiful, really bright red. Here I'm just cleaning up my area before I move on to my ZZ plant. My Raven ZZ plant. It's not just any ordinary ZZ. It is a Raven ZZ. So sometimes I do like to recycle my soil, but because this soil had some foreign weird matter in it, I just went ahead and tossed it. And I'm cleaning my scissors, disinfecting them really quick so that I can go ahead and chop off these rotten roots that I found, and hopefully that will help the plant push out new roots, healthy roots, and help it grow. I spoke too soon. I actually am still working on this philodendron before I move on to the ZZ. Got ahead of myself. But the Raven ZZ is next. And until then, I am just going to continue chopping these roots. I'm going to put it in some new soil, and then I'll move on. So I cleaned off all those roots, chopped off all the dead ones, and now I am going to grab a new pot for this beauty. I'm gonna downsize because the pot that it was in before was just a little too big. I thought it would be ready for it, and I thought wrong. Really, they just like to be snug in their pots. They kind of like to be a little root bound is what I'm starting to learn and realize. Let's see here. So yeah, I'm gonna start putting a layer of soil. Just got my chunky soil mix. It's a mix of regular potting soil, perlite, and orchid bark. I use that for pretty much all my houseplants. But yeah, put a layer on the bottom. And then go ahead and plop that plant right in the pot. Fits perfectly. I think it's a really nice fit. I think it's going to do really well in this pot, and I believe it's already pushing out new growth, so hopefully within the next week or two we can see it just take off. So I'll give you guys an update. Make sure to shimmy that soil. Almost said shoil. Shimmy that soil. Yeah, make sure you go ahead and give it a nice pat down so that it's nice and condensed and there's no gaps or anything like that. Fill it up and make sure she gets a good water. I am adding a trellis back to this plant. It does just like to climb up something, and I believe it really, this is an epiphytic plant and it does naturally climb up the trees in the jungle. So that's why I just give it a little bit of support to help it mature and grow and do its thing. I have a feeling this next leaf is really going to be huge. But yeah, this is that end result. It is looking a little dusty, crusty, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe the leaves down with my plant cleansing wipes. Just giving those leaves a good wipe down. It really helps the plant photosynthesize better. Because when the leaves are dusty, it kind of creates a layer, and it creates a layer of blockage, and was what I'm trying to say. So it blocks the leaves from absorbing that sun, that light. But yeah, the plant looks super good. I'm happy with the result, happy how it came out. I'm now gonna move on to my Raven ZZ, and the soil looks dusty, musty, crusty too, so definitely needs new soil and it needs a new pot as well. The pot is just a little bit too big for it. Although I think this plant is doing better in this size of pot compared to the philodendron. I am just going to downsize a little bit. This soil needed to be changed desperately. I honestly had been putting this Repot off for a while. Yikes, but it's getting done now. Well, it's done now, and I'm really happy about it. Happy that I was able to get to it today. So the ZZ plant is kind of a trip because when it's in the pot, it doesn't really seem like all of these stalks that you see are their own plant, like their own root system, but they each have their own root system. The ZZ plant is a little different. The root system is a little different. It has these potato-looking bulbs called rhizomes that it produces, and it helps the plant store water and absorb the nutrients through there. So same process as the philodendron. I'm just going around and inspecting all the roots, looking for any rot if there is any. I believe I do find some rot on one of the rhizomes, so I'll show you what I do with that. This is the rotten rhizome. So squishy and gross, and you can just see it's rotted. It's kind of nasty, so I went ahead and just chopped it back. You want to chop it back as far as you can, so till you see white. That is what I do. I'm not sure if that is the correct thing to do, but I didn't let it callus over or anything. I just cut it back and then I put it right into the soil. I will see how that goes. Here I'm just discovering some type of damage to this stalk. It's basically almost torn off, so I'm gonna cut it off. Doesn't really benefit the plant at this point. And I'm gonna try and propagate it. I'm not sure how to propagate the ZZ plant, but you can see here it's like barely hanging on, so I'm gonna chop, unfortunately. Alrighty, gonna go rinse these roots off. That's what that looks like, all nice and clean, all rinsed off. You can see those rhizomes, they definitely look like potatoes. And now I am going to clean my area up and repot this bad boy. Decided to use a terracotta pot instead of a clear plastic nursery pot, just because the terracotta pot is a little bit more, what am I trying to say? Is porous the word I'm looking for? It does help. It's a little bit more water retentive. I think that is what I'm trying to say. It's so it will help hold the water. You won't have to water as much with this pot, with the ZZ plant, especially because they hold water in their roots and the rhizomes. You'll probably only need to water it. I'll probably only need to water this maybe like once or twice a month. Here I am trying to stop Doji from attacking the window. She does not like people walking past her window sometimes. It is not her window. She doesn't own that window, but she's very territorial. It's in her DNA. She is a terrier, so she's a protector. Yes, she was barking pretty loud though. So same process, gonna put a layer of soil down first. I did put a piece of paper towel, I don't know if you noticed that, down before I put the soil down, just so it can kind of help the soil not slip out of the drainage hole once I water it. Yeah, and it really did help. So now I'm just potting up those different stalks, trying to make it look nice and pretty. Flow right, the feng shui has to be right, you know. It's kind of a perfect fit. I think this is gonna thrive in this pot. I think this plant will thrive in this pot. I'm hoping. I'm gonna try and not underwater it, because although they are drought tolerant plants, they love a drink, okay? Don't get that mistaken and wrong. They love to be hydrated, but they can go longer compared to other plants without water. Just topping off the soil and patting it down, giving it a good shimmy so that it could get compact and all the roots are covered and there's no gaps, all that good stuff. So this is that end result. Looks gorgeous. Really proud and happy how this came out. Hope it does well. Hope it thrives. Please send me good vibes. Please send my plants good vibes. Yeah, I'm just gonna water them now, and that should conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining this channel today. Thanks for checking out this video. If you've made it this far, you are a real one. I hope this helped in any way on your plant journey. Hope this gave you some new information or just some new visual example or anything like that. If not, I hope it was entertaining and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Just gonna water these bad boys and that's it.